to Cooking with John. Today I'm doing a little bit of a follow-on from my last video, which was on dim sum. This is a dish which is simply just roast belly pork, Chinese roast belly pork, otherwise known as soy yuk, which basically just means roasted meat. It's nice and simple to do. It does take 2 stages. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to do the initial preparation part. It does need to rest in the fridge overnight before we roast. So this will be done in 2 bits. So we'll deal with this bit today and then we'll come back tomorrow and finish the dish off. It's a very simple dish to do. It just takes a little bit of time. It doesn't require a great lot of ingredients, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So let's get cracking. I've got my belly pork here. Now, I picked this belly pork up from my local Chinese supermarket at the butchery counter. Now, you can either pick this up from your local butcher, your Chinese supermarket, or even at the regular supermarket you can get this. Generally, you don't always get it as such a big piece. The piece I've got here was about 2.7 kilos, which I know is really quite big, but it did come with the ribs still attached on here. So this is a little bit of a bonus actually. So what I've done is I've just taken the ribs off from the bottom and we've got ourselves a nice little rack here. So these are really good to marinate them up and roast them nice and quick. So I'll do a little bit of a bonus dish with this. So I've just got these to the side and we'll deal with them a bit later. Okay, so for the belly pork, it's very simple. Okay, it's all already nicely trimmed up. It's really good condition, but what you're looking for is some really nice layers of fat and meat in the belly pork. So you see we've got some good layers there. Okay, so what we need to do with this is we need to blanch this first. Okay, so all we need to do is, I've got a big pan of boiling water here, and to that we just want to add some spring onions. I've just got 2 spring onions here and I've just chopped them into lengths. 4 to 5 slices of fresh ginger, and if you want a few red Sichuan peppercorns. You don't have to put these in, it is optional, but I just like to put it in because it adds a little bit of flavour. Okay, and also to that we just want to add about a capful of Shaoxing cooking wine, which is Chinese cooking wine. If you can't get this, you can substitute it for sherry if you want. If you don't have it, don't worry, you can always just leave it out. Okay, but just a capful, this stuff's pretty strong. And it just puts a nice flavour into the water. So we'll go and pop those bits in and then and we'll get this blanched. Okay, so I've got my pan of water on here and it's just about coming up to the boil. Okay, now I'm using a very big pan here because I've got a really big piece. If you get a smaller piece, you should have just a regular saucepan at home that you can actually use. Okay, so as I said to that, I'm just going to throw in the spring onions, pop in the ginger, stuff it around, and then in with the peppercorns. Okay, and again to that, just a splash of Shaoxing wine. As I said, it's just a capful, which basically about 2 teaspoons. That's really all you need. Okay, and that's it. And to that, all we do is we take the pork skin side down first, straight into the pan. Just lay that in, and just a spoon here, and then just get that into the water. Now what you want to do is you want to bring this up to the boil, and you want it to boil for about 3 to 5 minutes, and then take it out. That's all it needs. It's just going to partially cook, and it's going to start to soften up the skin and the fat at this point, but also it will take away the impurities that are on there. So we'll just bring that up to the simmer and then we'll move on to the next little stage. Okay, so our pork has been in the pan for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Because this is such a big piece, it's not fully come to the boil, it's just about there, but it has been poaching in very hot water for a good 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to actually take this out just now. Alright, and you want to dry this off. So I've just got some kitchen paper here, and just gently press it down, gently peel it back. Just be careful it doesn't stick, because it can be, paper can stick to this quite easy. Now while it's still hot, okay, what we want to do is we want to actually prick this skin to help, when it's roasting, it'll help release the fat. This is a very good trick to get it nice and crispy on the top. If we don't do this stage, what will happen is when you're roasting, it'll become really quite hard and leathery. It won't really puff up. So this is a good technique to do, even if you're just doing a regular roast pork for a Sunday dinner, for example, and you want nice crackling. You can blanch this in your hot water, or pour very hot water over it to start with, but then what you want to do is you want to stab it just through the fat. You don't want to go all the way through to the meat. Again, and the more you do this, the better your crackling is going to be. So that's that bit done. Okay. Now, again, just give it another very quick pat. Now we want to sort out the marinade. Now, the best way to get the marinade into here is to make a couple of incisions along here. Now you don't want to go all the way through to the fat, you just want to go for the meat, okay? Now, when this is cooked, I'm going to have it cut into strips and then chop it down that way so it's cubed, okay? So I'm going to do 1, 2, now I'm just going to do 2 incisions down here, okay? So a very sharp knife, and just come all the way along. Just mind your fingers, and then again just through the meat, not into the fat. Yeah, now we're going to have quite a thick piece here, but it'll make it too thin if I do another one. So the marinade ingredients, very, very simple. Just going to move this. So what we have is the main one, 5 spice powder. Okay, I've got 2 teaspoons in here. Heaped teaspoons, to be fair, okay. And I've got a teaspoon of white pepper, ground. Also into here I have got 2 teaspoons of salt. Just regular salt will be fine. Okay, and a teaspoon of sugar. Actually, this is 3/4 of a teaspoon of sugar, sorry. Okay, so before we put the marinade on, what we want to do is we want to take a little bit of Shaoxing wine again, okay, and just again, probably about a capful, alright. And what I'm going to do here, we just want to rub this in, okay. So all I'm going to do, I'm just going to pour it onto my hands very quickly over the meat and just rub onto there, and make sure you get into the incisions that you've made, okay. Now we just go on to apply the marinade on this one. Now an important thing on this is that you do not want to get any of this marinade onto the skin. Reason being is because there's sugar in here, and if it gets onto the skin, once you're roasting it, it will just caramelise it, it will burn. So you want to be careful that it just goes onto the meat part into here. Okay, so I'm just going to get my teaspoon, and I'm just going to open up the cavities here, just sprinkle this onto there, and then there's a couple of teaspoons worth so far, and then just rub. But rub it into that cavity and get it all over the base of the meat. Using your hands is the easiest way to do this. It's a bit messy, but it's the most effective way. You can always wash your hands, right? Just make sure your hands are clean before you do this, which mine are. And that is the marinade on. Now all we've got to do is wrap this up and let it rest in the fridge. Hi guys, welcome back. So it's 24 hours later since we popped this into the fridge. Okay, so this is at 24 hours now. Okay, as I said before, you don't necessarily need to go to 24 hours, 12 hours at least is good until the skin is nice and dry. Okay, now at this point, obviously, it's going a lot harder and drier. Okay, and when we were pricking this yesterday, you can do this a little bit more today if you'd like. You'll find it's a little bit harder to do because obviously it's gone quite leathery. Okay, but that's exactly kind of what you want. So again, you know, just go all the way around and just give it as many as you can to get as many holes in there. Okay, so that's all done. Alright, so all I need to do with this now, okay, is basically just to prepare the skin. Okay, so I've just got some of the vinegar in here, just on my brush. And I'm just going to lightly brush over the skin with this all the way over. Now what we're going to do as well is we're actually now going to put some salt on. As I said yesterday, you can cover this with salt on the top before you put it in the fridge. Personally, I just don't like to do that. I just prefer to let it dry as it is and then salt it before it goes into the oven. So now that's on, and then I'm just going to salt it. You want to be very, very liberal with the salt. Okay, you want quite a bit onto here. I've just got my little salt shaker. You could just take a couple of teaspoons on and just rub it over. Okay, but you want quite a bit onto this. Give it a good coating all the way. Because remember, this is basically raw. You're not going to over salt this really. Okay, so that's got a fair bit of salt now all the way over, and that's probably about a teaspoon and a half that I've used on here. All right, that's it. Okay, it's ready to go into the oven. Right, guys, the belly pork is done. Now, what you'll see from here, we've got a nice crispy skin on here. There are certain patches on here that it looks a little bit uneven, and that's just generally what will happen by doing it just in the oven the way I've done, because obviously you get certain hot spots in your oven and every oven is a little bit different. So we're ready to cut this. Okay, now here's a top tip. Do not try and cut this through the skin. Okay, turn it over. Alright, so I've got it here, turn it over. Now this looks very black, okay, but that's just simply because we've put 5 spice and everything on here, so it gives a very dark colour. Now, if you remember the incisions we made when putting a marinade in here, this is our guide for cutting this, because we want to basically cube this, okay? So I'm just going to run my cleaver through here. A cleaver is a good one to use for this, okay? Bash it down just to make sure it gets all the way through. I think that's done. Yep, that's through. And there is that piece there. Now you can see you've got that gorgeous meat in there. It's lovely and juicy. If I squeeze there, see all that moisture in there. It's beautiful. And we've got that nice crispy skin on top. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same with this one. Through the line. This might be a little bit too warm in the moment for cutting, but just for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to cut this now. You can let it cool a little bit more and you'll probably find it'll cut a little bit easier. Right guys, there you go. So there's my take on Chinese roast belly pork, otherwise known as soy yuk. I really hope you enjoy this one as much as I do. We absolutely love it. We have it every time we go to our Chinese restaurant for dim sum. Again, this video hasn't been sponsored, but if you are local to me, I source everything again from Wing Hong Supermarket down on George Street. We've got a great little butcher counter there, so I managed to get the meat from there. If you can't get your meat from your Chinese supermarket, a local butcher or a supermarket, you'll find it. Just a little tip, just try and make sure that you've always got a nice layer of fat to meat ratio all the way through it. Give this one a go, and I really hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and I will see you again for the next one.